Okay. Welcome everyone. Welcome to Stars. Thank you for coming tonight. It's great to have you all here. I won't talk too much about myself, but I am Vice President of Platforms here at Stars and was previously Principal Backend Engineer. I'm going to share some perspectives tonight, at least from my perspective on observability, and just give a bit of an insight on how I see things in the world of running systems. Let's see if this works. Not so long ago, I think, does anyone see any familiarity in these screens to the, a few people. This is what we used to, once upon a time, when I first started working, use to monitor systems, particularly Nagios. We had different names for it, but they're not probably appropriate for here. So, how many have been in reliability roles or platform roles? Or okay, that's good. This is good. I'll cover firstly what is observability, just to give a basic intro. If you spot any gaps, let me know. Observability is a concept derived from control theory, which states that it is a measure of how well internal states of a system can be inferred from knowledge of its external outputs. And that is to say, we're inferring the traits of the system and getting a deeper understanding of how it works and why it does what it does, not just saying, okay, we've got a container that doesn't have memory or can't be scheduled because the node has run out of memory. So where monitoring focuses on the detection, observability really focuses on those deeper level pieces. And so I thought I'd start with a real world example. Outside of work, I like to go racing. This is not my car, and I wasn't racing that car. That is a class-winning world time attack car that I took a photo of. That photo, indeed, a few weekends ago now. And the similarity here is in racing, you can have a dashboard in a car that gives you alerts, and it tells you when things are not working so well, when the engine's hot, or when you've got no oil pressure, and that's sort of akin to monitoring. However, you can have observability as well, and have a full data suite that tells you a lot more about the car. And so we instrument cars with sensors so that we can tell all sorts of things, not only about the car, but also the driver, And so I guess it's one way to look at it, is that monitoring is about reactiveness, and whereas observability is more about proactive insight and diagnosing things that you don't yet know about or may soon know about. And there's three pillars to it around metrics, logs, and traces. And I think traces are probably the most important part for me, is that's what is actually going on under the hood. What is happening in that request? Or what happened in that request when the world went red. And so that's one way of doing that. Now, what are the benefits of this approach? Well, when it comes to complex systems, a simple system is reasonably well monitored, maybe with some access logs, and maybe you can get away with a little bit less. But as soon as you've got microservices architecture, I'm not sure how many microservices folks are in the room. Okay, well, this is good. I like it. Microservices are hard, and they're really hard to do well. So when you're trying to troubleshoot a problem that is a distributed transaction across multiple different systems, it might be multiple different parts of the distributed system that's still deployed as one. But as soon as you're trying to troubleshoot something that crosses network boundaries or leaves a process, it really does become quite tricky to jump between different monitoring systems, and that's where observability tooling really wins for me. So the benefits here is that you can reduce your time to recovery, and you can potentially proactively identify and mitigate any performance bottlenecks that before they hit your customers or your users. And of course, then that gives you shorter feedback loops if you happen to be using the same software and the same tooling in your dev environments. So some tooling that I've tended to use, and we use here at Stars, or some of these we use at Stars, they're not the be-all and end-all. Some of them are very good and very well priced as well in the market. So Azure Monitor Application Insights are good ones. We use Datadog extensively here. In previous slides, I've also used the Elk Stack, Grafana, and C, which I'll show an example of at the end. So why would we democratize observability? We have a saying here, like quality is everyone's responsibility, and I want to Shanghai that and actually use that and say, well, let's make reliability everyone's responsibility as well. So there's not just a team of platform engineers or reliability engineers who are responsible for keeping systems running, but it starts with the developers or the teams well back, right? And sharing is caring as well. For teams like mine, we get a lot of data requests because product teams and engineering teams can't just go moseying on into production and having a look around. There's separation there. So we get a lot of data requests to get statistics out. And so what we can provide is a service for product and engineering teams to obtain real-time feedback on their work and on engagement and an adoption and real-world usage of their product. And indeed, we can also pass it on to the support teams and give them an ability to see the world from our perspective and help them at least triage and diagnose user-reported issues a little bit quicker. So I'd like to share just 3 examples of how we do this here. So the first example is a Azure monitored workbook that one of my team members set up. It was completely unprompted. It wasn't part of a roadmap. It was just an idea. And it came from these information requests where we're being asked for in product metrics. And so this team member built out this workbook using metrics that we ship off to Log Analytics or somewhere in Azure every week. And the introduction of this self-service capability actually allows other people all across the business to just go and see the license, actual usage versus licensed usage in the product. And this is now a source of truth. Another thing we do like is dashboards. And this is a dashboard I sometimes show to customers when we're talking about the performance of their system. It's a little bit of a party trick, but what's interesting here is that there's different elements of play. We bring in a bit of Kubernetes. We bring in the traffic metrics as well as customized traces as well. And I've been given the 3-minute warning, which is perfect because we're getting towards the end. And so we also use Datadog to then instrument our own in-product metrics as well. So we actually bring in our business language a little bit into our traces, and we can get a finer detail of what's going on. And there's another example of that there when you're really drilling in. And support have found this very useful to diagnosing performance problems for customers. Finally, you don't need to spend a lot of money on observability platforms to get started. You can do so just by purposefully logging messages and extracting those to generate business metrics. And so the example here is a system called Seek, which shows coffee orders. And in the past, I've used that product to actually generate metrics and dashboards like that to follow journeys across microservices. So we have a correlation ID fed through the entire system, and then we would use the logging product to help tie that all together and get an end-to-end view of a transaction. Soup to nuts, as they say. So finally, where would you begin at the end? Consider observability early on in your SDLC and really make it everyone's responsibility and bake it into the implementation from the day dot. And seek opportunities to capture those metrics and bring in your business domain or ubiquitous language for the domain-driven design folks in the room. Bring that in and bake that into your implementation as well as the technical metrics. And finally, build simple dashboards, really simple dashboards for the system and product that are accessible to others, and then document them. No one does that, but it's worth doing. And finally, evangelize the tooling and encourage others to explore it and build their own dashboards. Certainly Datadog, we allow people to build their own dashboards and have a play around. And you get lovely insights like our in-product dashboard there. Not in Datadog, but that sort of idea comes from empowering others to also play with their ideas. So, here, end of the lesson. If you want to connect, the details are in really small print down the bottom there. And I do believe that I've been asked by CC I need to look at this because I will forget. If you see anything in the in today's message that you think, hey, John got that wrong, he could improve this somewhere, we're hiring. We've got 2 SRE roles up. We're looking for software engineers for our AI team and also 2 tech leads. So not too much of a plug, but yeah, if you know anyone or you want to, or if you're interested and want to have a chat, let us know. Otherwise, thank you for coming tonight. It's good to have you.
Okay, we do have a couple questions. So first one I got here is: have you had to have any cost conversions about data volume or cardinality with Datadog? Do you have to limit how much you ship?
Yes, yes, indeed. We don't so much limit how much we ship; we limit how much we ingest. We have our rules set up to actually drop a lot of log volume on the way into Datadog. By virtue of our scale, we don't have to worry too much about the trace metrics and the custom metrics at the moment. That could easily swing, and you just got to be careful about understanding what the cost drivers are within Datadog or similar tools.
Another Datadog question. Datadog traces can be expensive. What's your sample size percentage like? We often find the slow request samples don't speak for our P95 or P99s.
That is true. I don't know our sample size at the moment, but if whoever asked that would like to stay behind at the end, I'm happy to go for a quick dive and have a look.
Yes. There's a question here that I think was asked before you mentioned you guys are hiring, but someone's asking questions whether you guys are hiring. Good. And then lastly here we go, why were simple, accessible Seek dashboards enough to need the investment in Datadog?
Well, the Seek dashboards were from 2 jobs ago or 3 jobs ago now, so that was a previous company. Yeah, we didn't run it here, so yeah, it's horses for courses.
And then another question here about: are there any junior positions available?
I'm not sure. CC?
Maybe, so always good to have a chat.
Cool, it sounds like you got to talk to CC.
Please have a chat with CC, even if we don't have anything open at the moment. You never know what might happen in the future. Always good to have a contact.
Nice, and that's all my questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.